everybody. Welcome to the Vikings Report Rewind. As always, I'm your one of your three co-hosts. I'm Ted Glover. To my YouTube right is the one and only Drew Bunning. Below us in screen only is the one and only Christopher Gates, the owner, not owner, but founder and lead blogger of the SB Nation site, the Daily Norseman, dailynorseman.com. And I hope you're all still with us and you have not overdosed on heroin, glue, alcohol, whatever it is. But, gentlemen, what the hell did we just watch other than a 30-27 Vikings overtime win?
Ted, I clearly picked the wrong week to quit doing methamphetamines. Got to say, this team can never just make it easy on themselves. I mean, you're up 11 points with 30 seconds left in the game, and the next thing you know, you're calling the coin toss for overtime. And this team, I don't know. They're my team. I love them, but God, just blow somebody out. Remember way back in week 3 when we were happy that they were blowing teams out? They're not doing that anymore. I don't get it.
Felt like 2 years ago. Drew, we said it during our preview, weird stuff always happens in Soldier Field. And we had weird stuff. We had a blocked field goal, which we said was going to happen. Almost had a kickoff return for a touchdown. We had a chain gang ref just randomly collapse. Poor
guy.
I hope he's okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to make light of that. I mean, and then we had the first onside kick recovery in the NFL this year, and of course, it happens against the Vikings. So,
of course,
yeah,
of course. I mean, it's like here we go. We got a lot to talk about in this game. I don't know what angle you want to come at it from. One thing I'd like to touch on is why does this happen week in and week out? Last year it happened all the time. The Denver game, it happened all the time the year before that. We can discuss that. I'd like to get some answers in the chat from that. Also in the chat today, whose bright idea was it to come up with that go for 2 when it's 24-16 thing that the Bears did? Some pimply-faced kid at ESPN made a chart. Yeah, I made a chart. And then it's not just the Bears. These other teams do it too. And I've never seen the advantage to that right in that area. It's always right when the score is in that area. I mean, I'm not going to bitch and moan because it screwed them in the end, but I don't understand. Maybe somebody in chat can explain to me why that is a smart thing to do. The Vikings win. I'm going to be happy for that. We're 9-2, but my God. I mean, where do you start with this thing?
First of all, before we get to that, speaking of the chat, first of all, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Really appreciate you taking time out of your day to watch us three idiots talk about an idiotic game and some idiotic decisions and an idiotic team that still happens to be 9-2, but whatever. Anyways, we're gonna have a prize to give away at the end, maybe 2. All you got to do is make a comment in the live chat. You're automatically entered. Ruby's gonna spin a wheel at the end. And we'll make it. We'll send the prize out to you. I can't even think straight. But yeah, that's a good question. Just weird stuff happens in Chicago. I expected it. I didn't expect this much weird stuff. But yeah, I didn't get it. Well, other than Matt Eberflus being an idiot, I didn't get the go for 2 stuff when they were down by 2 scores. You kick the extra point there. And then all you need to do is score a touchdown and kick an extra point and you're tied. But whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I don't get that. But yeah, I
can kind of explain. Let me try to get into the.
Tell me what the positive is to that, Chris.
Now I think it's stupid too, but here's the mathematics and the logic behind it. Basically, what you're saying is, or what the numbers imply is, if you're down 8 points and you go for 2, if you don't get it, then you know you have to go for 2 again later. And if you do get it, then if you score another touchdown, all you have to do is kick the extra point to go ahead. Now I don't agree with it 90% of the time either. I think you just kick the damn extra point and go on about your business. But that's what the people with the numbers and the slide rules and the the whatever else
Slide rules.
have to
like
say
they're on the
so,
Apollo team. Good God, with the slide rules.
With the slide rules and their pocket protectors and their
the
horn
same
glasses.
The same pimply-faced kid that came up with that was also the guy that told Howie Roseman to draft Rieger before Jefferson. Same pimply-faced kid. The analytics, baby. The analytics, man. We got it all down. The analytics people
playing Moneyball.
Jay Johnson in the comments, and he's with us almost every week. Jay's a great fan of the show. Thank you, Jay. He says going for 2 on that TD was very stupid. Even many Bears fans were even questioning that call. And I don't know about you guys, but like I don't get a whole lot of texts during the weekend when the Vikings are winning. But when the Bears came back and tied the game, I got a text from one of my friends at work, and she's not even a football fan, but her husband is a big football fan, and it was a big like, come on, like what are you gonna give? Come on, really? And I got a text from a friend of mine who's a Packers fan with a big eyeball emoji, and I just waited. I just waited. I knew they were going to win. I knew they were going to pull it out.
We talked during the game, and we were going to talk about it on the show. We talked during the game about why does this happen all the time? And I'd like to get into it with the help of the people in the chat because it's really irritating to me. It's irritating to me. I mean, KOC probably feels like euphoric, like he's on cocaine right now because he won this game the way he did. I want to win 38-10. He doesn't. He wants to squeak it out at the end. Oh, yeah, look what we did here. And I feel really good. My ego's not inflated. I feel good about winning this game. But playing like this, all you're doing is playing with fire, Ted, at the end of the year. That's all you're doing. I mean, we can get into that maybe later. I don't know if you want to break the game down quarter by quarter, but I would definitely like to cover that topic about – because you said during the game, well, how is this particular specific thing not KOC's fault? It's his fault. He's the coach, like Zimmer. He's the head coach.
Let's get to it right after this comment from Steve Schiller, who said, Ted has friends, ? Steve, you are officially kicked out of the chat. You will never, ever be eligible for any prizes, ever, as long as I'm on the show. I'm just kidding. That was very funny.
Probably a Michigan fan. Michigan fan, right?
Yeah, he probably is. He's probably a Michigan State fan, if we're going to be quite honest with everybody. So, no, yeah, that one sequence you were talking about, and you brought it up, I think it was in the third quarter. And I was actually kind of irritated with you, if we're going to be honest. We probably would have, I don't say get into a shouting match.
Most people in my life are irritated with me, Ted.
Well, I mean, on that particular drive, I thought it was kind of unfair because on first and second down, the Bears had not, at that point in the game, I hadn't blitzed all day. And Darnold was under heavy pressure, and he threw 2 incomplete passes. One, he had to roll out, just throw the ball out of bounds.
Right.
And third down was like an incomplete pass or whatever they had to punt.
Naylor dropped it.
That's right, Naylor. Yeah, Naylor dropped it, and
Shocker.
It's like
shocker.
Yeah, and I'm like, look, you can't fault KOC if the line can't block, and Naylor drops a pass that would have been a first down. It was like 3rd and 10, and it was a 14-yard throw past the mark. It passed the first down marker, and then later on after the punt that was muffed, the Bears muffed the punt, and the Vikings had 1st and 10. On first down, there was an absolutely horrid call. Again, the Bears still hadn't blitzed, and the Vikings called a screen pass to Aaron Jones that lost 4 freaking yards. And then Darnold was sacked, I think, on second down. So they had 1st and goal at the 9, and then Chris, I think they had 3rd and goal at the 22 or 23, whatever it was.
Ridiculous.
I'm not sure if it's the same sequence, but it was the first play of the second quarter or the third quarter when Darnold hit Addison for that huge gain, and they were down at like the 8-yard line or something like that. And then Aaron Jones lost 5 yards, and then Darnold got sacked for 9 more yards.
Yeah,
and they wound up kicking a field goal. I know we might not have been completely enamored with the play calls, but at some point somebody's got to block somebody, or do something. I mean, we if you don't like the play call, it's understandable, I guess. But as I believe noted football analyst Giselle Bundchen once pointed out, Sam Darnold cannot block for himself. He cannot throw the ball for himself. He cannot catch the ball for himself. Yeah,
I agree with that, but he's also holding it too long.
Oh, I know he is. He always
Mullins went back, looked at the defense, fired it over the middle, and hit Aaron Jones for a first down.
I'm telling you, on that play. Oh, go ahead. Finish your thought. Finish your thought, Drew. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, a lot of plays. I like Sam Darnold. I think he's a competent quarterback, but there's a bunch of plays he holds it too long, Chris. Hold it. Throw it out of bounds. Hold it. Take a sack. Hold it. Stop holding it and fire the underneath stuff like he did on that last drive to Hawkinson. What the hell are you holding that ball so long for? But I thought the offensive line was atrocious today, Chris. I thought the offensive line sucked.
It absolutely was. And somehow Aaron Jones ran for 100 yards and
got to get rid of that ball sooner. Just a split second sooner. Get rid of it. Come on, dude.
On that third down, on that 3rd and 13, I think it was, where Mullins was in for Darnold, and he hit Aaron Jones, who ran for 14.
Right.
I'm telling you, Sam Darnold, I don't think makes that check down.
Right.
To Aaron Jones, like you just said, I think he tries to find a receiver past the first down marker. When the play was set up to if you look at the replay, Addison, JJ, and I don't know who the third receiver was. They were clearing out. They were running deep to clear out the underneath for Jones to go and get it at about 7 or 8 yards where he caught the ball and get that extra 7 or 8 yards to get the first down. It was a beautiful play call and design that worked perfectly. Mullins hit Jones, did exactly what the play was supposed to do. And I think part of it, Todd Taylor, great. $5 for Nick Mullins, 100% completion rate this year. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate you.
Todd Taylor. Todd Taylor's bucking for a prize, Fed.
Yeah, I think your call. Yes or no for Todd?
I say yes for Todd Taylor.
All right. Chris, yes or no for Todd?
Sure, why not?
So let it be written, so let it be done. Todd Taylor, you just won a prize.
And I'm not saying, Chris, I hate the play calling all around. But I'm saying through the course of a game, there's way too many -4 plays. There is way too many negative plays.
Yeah.
In this game.
I absolutely agree.
Start off the drive -3, -4. You throw a shitty screen for -5. Throughout the course of the game, you can't waste downs like that. You can't.
No.
Come on.
I mean, I don't know why it happens, but I mean, I don't know how much of it is the plays, how much of it is the execution or what it is, but yeah, there's way too many negative plays. I totally agree on that.
Yeah, and it didn't start out that way. That first drive, it started out very well. And Todd, by the way, just get a hold of to claim your prize, get a hold of Ruby at VikingsReport@Ted@gmail.com. She'll send you a link to the prize vault.
We got great fans in it. We got great people who watch the show. Drew, you're not wrong about Sam. I think he looks for the big play. I think he does
too often. And it can be frustrating. And somebody said had kind of a funny comment about Sam's pocket presence. I don't think he has bad pocket presence, but he does hold on to the ball too long. However, I think he doesn't take what the defense gives him all the time, and that can be
Josh had a good comment.
Frustrating. What was the comment? At least Darnold took care of the ball. Yes, that's true.
That play in overtime when Sweat was coming in, I could smell a fumble right there.
Yeah,
and he did not allow that to happen. He actually looked good in that overtime drive, but Vikings are good when the other team scores. Like Tennessee, we drive right down the field. I don't know why the mindset can't be like that 100% of the time. I don't know.
Somebody asked where the screens when the Bears line up in an obvious blitz. The one time they did blitz, they did throw a screen, and I think it went to Akers, and he got, or maybe Jones, and it was 1st or 2nd and 14, and he got 7 or 8 yards. I mean,
he got
one time they did blitz, it worked out well. Ski says Sam played great in 4th at OT, and again, and that was that Vikings drive in overtime looked like it was headed for disaster several times. I mean, the Vikings were doing, they had the holding call. They had a false start penalty. They had the sack, and they were behind schedule on almost every single first down, and they overcame every single one. So yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know why they make it so hard on themselves, Chris. Why do they make it so tough on themselves? They got too much talent to make it this tough on themselves. They do.
You would think. I mean,
they get that overtime. It came to 3rd and 10. What a huge play that was. They throw the square out to Addison. Beautiful call. Why don't you call that on 1st down? Why make it hard on yourself? Call that play on 1st down. It's just like, it's amazing to me that these guys get paid millions of dollars, but it's always, it's pushing the limits too much, man. I don't get what's so hard about it. Maybe my question is, what is so difficult about it? Play call.
I really don't know. I mean, honestly, I'm not going to pretend that I know the first thing about how coaches call NFL games or anything like that, but it's not my job to know that. It's the coach's job to know that. And I don't know why it gets more difficult than it probably looks like it should be sometimes.
How many
Digital Nate,
3 or 4?
Digital Nate has a good comment here about 2nd and 15, 3rd and 8, or 2nd and 15, third mid-level completions kept the chains moving. At least, I think Sam had a pattern. I don't know what you want to call it, of when it was 2nd and really long, trying to throw it and get everything back at once. And today, when the Vikings were in a 2nd and long situation, he checked down to either Hawkinson or to a back, or even to Naylor or whoever, and was able to get, if it was 15 yards, he got 7 or 8 back. If it was 10 yards, he got 6 back to make it a 3rd and manageable, and the Vikings were able to convert, especially in that overtime period. And that made it made the offense able to stay on the field longer. I don't know. It just felt like the Vikings were a lot more in sync and were able to stay on the field more consistently today, I guess I should say, even though they got behind schedule with the penalties and the sacks or whatever on early downs.
No, I mean, like you said, when a lot of the times when they needed to play, somebody made it. I mean, and if you'd have told me going into this game, let me look at the numbers here to be 100% sure on this, that Justin Jefferson was going to have 2 catches for 27 yards and 1 catch for 7 yards through the first 3 quarters of play, and the Vikings still had any chance.
Thanks, Paul. Nice pick, Paul.
Crazy.
Idiot.
Yeah, that was a straight up like Karl Malone, John
Idiot.
Stockton screen that Powell set up.
Idiot.
That was too many dumb things happen on this team. That's probably a big part of what it is.
Yeah. And again, Drew, the Vikings shot themselves in the foot in the red zone. I mean, I think they had or Chris, you could probably better answer this. Aaron Jones fumbled on the 1. Was that their 4th straight red zone turnover?
Something like that, yeah. Yeah.
And look, I want to ask you guys this. What makes you angrier? Going in shotgun in the red zone on the 1-yard line, or 4th and 1 when they went for it and it looked like they were kind of going for a drive to essentially end the game when they were up by, I think, 2 scores? Or I don't know. I can't think of something else that would make me even more angrier. But God, I think when Congress comes in session in January, they should pass a law outlawing the shotgun on 4th and 1.
Absolutely.
You were angry with me in that 3rd quarter, weren't you? We were texting back and forth. You were angry.
A little bit.
You were angry.
I'm not angry.
If you're angry
irritated
with me now, you're going to be really angry when Michigan upsets your team next. You're really.
That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Here we go.
I don't mind that 4th down call, Ted. My thought process is, my God, why don't you run play action and then throw that ball to Hawkinson? That might. Your running game's working well enough to let play action suck the linebackers in. And for another thing, if you look at the replay, Hawkins is open, Chris, for like 4 seconds before he throws that ball. 4 seconds. And then it almost seemed like that. And then the Bears guy gets a hand in there. Throw the fucking ball to him. What are you waiting for?
I was not opposed to going for it there.
No, I like the call.
No, absolutely not.
I was just opposed, Chris, to the shotgun formation. I would have preferred.
No.
I would have preferred
Shotgun
Sam
never works
over center, And heck, either sneak it or play action, like you said, Drew. I think play action would open up something down the middle for a huge gain. I agree.
So
yeah.
too.
Shotgun was again, and that goes back to what you were saying earlier about KOC play calling. That was a stupid play call.
It was.
So was shotgun down on the goal line in the first quarter.
He has some good play calls through the course of a game, and then he has some ones that are just right. It's another ugly win. If you want to look up Vikings wins in the dictionary, there's a picture of Frau Farbissna or somebody like that. That's what it looks like.
Who is Frau Farbissna?
Frau Farbissna,
the woman from Austin Powers.
Yeah,
the screaming
All right,
German.
couldn't come up with anybody really off the bat.
Bring in the shotgun.
Bring us the Vimba! I don't know. The Vikings, they have a team that can just wipe the floor with people, but they refuse to do it for some reason. And I don't know if I'm just being too hard on the team, but let's get into it then. What we argued about online, Ted. I asked, why is it like this? The Jets, the Colts, the Jags, the Titans. Why are we letting these teams hang around? It's a freaking pattern, dude, and it's not good.
It is. Well, I mean,
why?
again, Chris, I think it's a combination of play calling. I mean, we've called out some of the stupid play calls, and I think it's a lack of execution. I mean, that nailer drop on 3rd and 10 or whatever it was would have extended a drive.
Yeah.
You had the nailer drop for the touchdown against the Rams. There've been, the inability to run the ball wasn't that big of a deal today. I thought Jones had over 100 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown, for God's sakes. Thank God.
Yeah, no, it's a combination of both. I mean, the play goes in, and it's your job as a player to execute on the play. And if it's not the best play call, I mean, you still gotta execute, no matter what happens. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, we're not in love with the play calling sometimes, but there's just as much of this to blame on the execution as there is any sort of play calling or anything like that.
I agree. And I don't want to come off like this guy wrote nitpicking issues. It's going to be nitpicking at the end of the year when you're playing the Lions. That's why I'm mentioning it now. You got to get better. There's no reason the Bears should have been in this game in overtime with us. No way.
Should not have gone to overtime. When you were up 24-10 against a 4-8 or 4-6 football team, it should not have gone to overtime. I
sent you a message, Ted. Make me the idiot. Have KOC shut me up. Go up 31-10. Go up 38-10. Make me look dumb. Because I looked at Toonces when it was 17-10 Vikings, and I told her the Vikings aren't putting another point in this game on the board unless the Bears get a touchdown, and then we'll start playing hard. That's his pattern. That's KOC's pattern. I said it to you. Show me. Show me you can beat these teams. Show me you don't have to beat Jacksonville 12-7, dude.
Yeah, no, I get it. I it's a valid beef, but what is your theory? I mean, I've given you mine. I think it's a combination of play calling and play calling at times and lack of execution of the play at others. I don't think it's all on one or all on the other.
I think it's just a kill shot attitude, and it falls down from the coach to the team. Oh, we're up 14, so we could take our foot off the gas a little. And my proof of that is, and this goes back to last season, when the Vikings are down 2 scores, what do?
Oh, they go balls to the wall.
And they execute.
Yeah.
That's the proof of where I'm coming from. That is the proof. You should be playing that way when it's 0-0 or when you're up by 3. They're very inconsistent on letting the score judge how they're going to call plays and how they're going to attack the defense. That's what I'm saying. People are going to disagree with me. One day they're going to listen to me. But it's a lot on the execution, but it's also on the play calling and having the killer instinct. When you're up 24-10, all you should be thinking about is 40-10. Look at the Lions. Look what they do every week. They don't take their foot off the gas. KOC does that. That's the way he coaches. I'm up 24-10. And the defense really isn't in his backyard, but without Brian Flores this year, the Vikings are a 3-8 team.
Say that again.
And that's how I feel. You could disagree. You could send the messages below. Tell me I'm wrong.
Say that again.
Brian Flores has bailed this team out a shitload of times. Today, not so much. But look at the whole season. he depends on Brian Flores too much. Run people out of the stadium, Ted. Run them out.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes. But look, all that said, and I'm not disagreeing with you. The Vikings need to be they should not have gone to overtime against the Bears. They should not have beaten Jacksonville by a score of 12-7. They should not have only beaten Tennessee by one score. I'm not disagreeing. But they won 3 straight games on the road in the NFL. Extremely difficult to do. They are 9-2.
5-1. 5-1 on the road.
5-1 on the road. They're 9-2 overall. With Sam Darnold as their quarterback. When in March or April, when Sam Darnold signed, literally everybody in the NFL laughed because you got rid of Kirk Cousins and now Sam Darnold's your quarterback? Really? And almost everybody thought the Vikings weren't going to win any more than 5 games. I saw some win predictions at 3. And I remember when the first odds came out, the Vikings were favored in 1 game. And I think that was the first game of the year against the Giants. And that was it. They weren't favored in any other games when the odds came out. I remember everybody saying the Bears were going to go 11-6 or whatever the hell it was.
No,
and I mean
11-6.
And look, they're 9-2. If it wasn't for the Lions going on this run, and look, I get the nitpicking because if you play like this in the playoffs, you're not going to go very far. I totally get it, but man,
though? That's my question. We were going to talk about that. Why? Why are we beating Jacksonville 12-7? Why? Why are we squeaking by? The Jets had the ball at the end of the game. If Rodgers hits Garrett Wilson on that pass, we lose. Why? Why?
I think it's
inferior to us, Ted.
I think it's a lack of execution and calling bad plays at a bad time. I think that I think calling that screenplay first and goal was just a dumb call. The Bears hadn't blitzed all game, for example. The offensive line, other than today, I think this is Aaron Jones' first 100-yard game in probably 7 or 8 games. I think he might have gone over 100 against the Texans. GMAX72 says it's a lack of toughness, in my opinion.
That's a great point.
That could be a very good point. I mean,
GMAC knows his stuff, man. He knows his football stuff.
Yeah.
He gives me a lot of shit about my bass playing. He says I'm a hacker bass player. I disagree, but when it comes to football, GMAC knows his info. So does Barry's for Elliott. So does all these guys. Raymond
and
Hogan.
Northvia says that's on KOC. Overall, at the end of the day, it all does come down to coaching. I agree with that. It does.
I got this from Northvia.
Yeah.
But I mean, we saw all the same stuff with Kevin O'Connell too. I mean, we had that first season with Kevin O'Connell. He had all those 1-score games. I think the Vikings were 11-0 that year, and we saw the same thing toward the end of the Zimmer era too. I mean, they played a lot of close games, whether it was because the defense was falling apart or what it was. So it's something with this team or this franchise, I guess. I mean, I don't think it's just
being too hard on the
coach
Vikings,
or anything
Chris,
like that.
If I'm being too hard on the Vikings, Chris, you tell me. I'm
no, I don't think you are. Honestly,
because I kind of feel it. Some people may think, "Oh, Drew, we won the game. Why are you so negative?" And I'm like that week in and week out because if I'm wrong, tell me because these games seem like they shouldn't be this close.
Well,
no, they shouldn't be.
Freebird brings up a good point. You don't hear the Kansas City fans or media saying the same things about them, and they look about as good as we do right now, to be honest. And he's not wrong. I mean, Kansas City. I mean, they're undefeated, but no, they're not. They lost to Buffalo last.
Yeah.
But they've squeaked out several games against teams they by right should have kicked the hell out of, and they haven't.
Yeah.
Well, I know, Ted, where I'm coming from in the long run. I don't want to end the season saying the Vikings had the talent. The Vikings could have won the Super Bowl. They had the talent to do it. Why didn't they? That's what I want to avoid because we're beating the Bears in overtime. We're winning the Jacksonville game barely. I mean, the Vikings, man, they have a team that can roll people. They do if they would just put it all together. I
get it. I mean, it can be frustrating to watch sometimes. I get it. Northvia sending $5. Thank you, Northvia. Appreciate that.
You got me this wine caddy, man.
Wow, that's nice.
Not the Michigan glove. I know.
Yeah,
I'm
get
gonna
that
listen to you,
Michigan.
I know you
Get
want it.
get that Michigan porn
Dude,
out of here.
we're gonna beat you shy ass this
No,
Saturday.
you're not.
But North just sent me this wine thing. Isn't that cool?
Nice. Yeah, it is.
Gotta-
Very cool. Look, I get it can be frustrating, but somebody earlier said,
I know,
and
I
I can't remember who it was. Do you think the Vikings should be 9-2 with Captain Kirk? No, I don't. I don't think they would.
No,
Probably not.
And you know, Brad Morin says the Vikings play to the level of the team they play against. That's partly true, I think, sometimes. But God, this team, excuse me, this team finds a way to win, Chris.
They do. I mean, they've been doing it for quite a while now. I mean, I don't understand. Like I said, I don't know why they play down to the level of their competition or play up to the level of their competition. But that's been a historical thing with the Vikings too. I mean, there's always games that they had no business losing that they wound up losing, and upsets that they never should have pulled off that they wound up pulling off. And I don't know if there's any one real source for it, to be honest.
And this is a good comment from Ski. He says, comparing the growth from 2 years ago, we were asking how the heck they were winning those games. Now we're asking why they aren't winning by more. That's a very good point. I mean, it's a process. Reason to be hopeful. That's a very solid point. I mean, everybody said in 2022, this team, they were the biggest fraud in NFL history. And now they've got one of the biggest point differentials in the NFL. They've got one of the better defenses in the NFL, depending on what metric you're looking at. And I get you think, man, that this shouldn't even be a close game. But I would also argue that last year, maybe even 2 years ago, minus the fluky season that 2022 was, or even going back 3 or 4 years, this is a game in Chicago with all the weird shit that happened. This is a game the Minnesota Vikings would not have won. And they won. And
that's the bottom line.
Yeah.
And I know that is a line that I agree with. I'm caught in between of if somebody like Wes Phillips or somebody on our show or whatever could tell me why O'Connell coaches aggressively when we're down 14 points or 7 points.
I don't think the aggression changes. I just think
why do we dominate when we're down? I mean, why can't you call plays like that when it's 24-10?
I don't think the aggression. Honestly, I don't think the aggression changes. I just think it's a lack of execution at times. I really do. I honestly, truly believe that. I mean, that one pass
team, they lose their focus when they're up by 14 rather than when they're down by 7.
I mean, look, when you're down, think about when you worked construction, right? For many, many years.
Yes, I did. I built many houses, Ted. I don't know if any are still standing, but I built a lot of them.
Did you have deadlines that you had to have stuff done by?
Oh, yeah.
And did you have, like, when you were coming up on a deadline, did you have a greater sense of urgency to get it done when the deadline was coming due versus when you just first started a project?
Depends on how much drug use was going on the job site.
I mean, I know.
I've been under the gun when you got to get this approved by Friday, and it's Monday. All right, guys, we need to get these walls up. I've been there.
I think it's a sense of urgency thing. When you're up by 10 versus when you're down by 10, it becomes a sense of urgency thing, and you're like, well, all right, I didn't catch this pass, but we're up by 10, and it's fine. But now when you're down by 10, you focus a little bit. Your focus is a little bit more intense. Your concentration is there a little bit more, and you're really a little bit more dialed in. And I don't know, does that go back to coaching and them not telling them to be more intense all the time? I don't know. I think that's more of an individual thing. That's my own personal thought. But I mean, Chris, you and I, based on our past lives, I know for a fact I was a lot more dialed in when I was flying combat missions than I was on a freaking training mission. But that's just me. I mean, it's just a mentality and a mindset, and I don't know if that's an individual thing you can do or how you do it. But
when you flew Gloria Stefan around, were you focused then?
Yeah, of course.
Damn well better believe you were focused.
I was in the zone, baby.
Ted, Chris, I don't want to get to the end of the season and say the Vikings had a good enough team to beat this guy or that guy or win the whole thing if we wouldn't have beat ourselves. That's what I'm trying to avoid. The Vikings don't need to beat themselves. If they don't beat themselves, they're already they can win the NFC. I don't want to look at the end of the year going, man, we would have won if we wouldn't have screwed all this up.
Yeah, I mean, but there's going to be a fair amount of that in almost every game.
Yeah, it happens with all the teams. I know. That's why I asked if I was being too hard on the Vikings. Chris, you let me know.
No, I don't think you are. No, I think you're fine.
The Vikings are good enough to win a lot of games, and they shouldn't. Maybe they just like to stress us out, Ted. I mean,
well, they do. Yeah, I mean,
the way that game was. Explain to me. You guys tell me what happened with an 11-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go and no timeouts for Chicago. What in the hell were we looking at?
Well, they went to prevent defense, and what does the prevent defense do, boys?
It prevents you from winning.
I wasn't too happy about that 2- and 3-man rush we had going on.
Yeah.
No.
And then I know, Drew, you listen with the volume down.
Yeah.
But the announcer said in the NFL, teams are 0 for 9 on onside kicks this year. And I thought, well, there's the announcer jinx.
Yep.
I actually tweeted that out.
It was like I saw something on social media the other day. It was like they listed the number of times each team had gotten the first score this season. And in their first 10 games, the Bears had scored first exactly 0 times.
Yeah.
And who scored first today? The Bears scored first.
I saw that comment too. Yeah.
Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
But Jacksonville, 2 interceptions all season. They get 3 against us.
Yep.
And look, I just expected, going back almost to my childhood, watching the Vikings play the Bears at Soldier Field.
Oh,
I just expected weird things to happen, because weird things happen at Soldier Field when the Vikings play Chicago. Walter Payton had the flu, and he ran for 275 yards. My God, it just happens. Weird things happen. So
I should have more faith, though. I should be more of a believer, because for one, when they got the 2-point conversion, then the ball went off Munt's leg, and I thought we were going to lose that game. I was really feeling like the momentum was rolling towards a loss. One of those weird things you're going to have to read about all week. And the Vikings didn't let it get them. They won in the end, and that's the important thing. They won that, and I need to face it. Instead of thinking they're going to lose, think they're going to win, because I did not think they were going to win this game. And maybe I need to be more of a believer, Ted.
See, I thought they were going to win. I had every belief that they were going to win, because God, and I know you and I also disagree on Caleb Williams' career trajectory, and he made some good throws today.
The only reason they're in that game is Caleb Williams. You kidding me?
But when it came down to it, he held on to the ball in overtime, and he took that brutal sack from Jonathan Renard.
I thought he played well. I thought he played great today.
Yeah, I thought it was a mixed bag. I thought it was a mixed bag. I mean, he only went down and they scored on that last drive at the end of regulation because the Vikings were in a prevent defense, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I'm going to stick to my Caleb Williams and J.J. McCarthy longtime rivals coming up starting next year. I thought Williams looked really good today. He made some bonehead plays, but he kept him in that game. Who else kept him in that game except Caleb Williams? Here's another thing.
Vikings defense.
If you're an offensive coordinator looking at the Vikings defense from this moment forward, all I'm throwing is wide receiver screens. That little flare screen to DJ. That's all I'm doing. DJ Moore. They couldn't stop it. He not only scored on it, he probably got over 100 yards. And let's be honest, Keenan Allen, what's that? 2 games against the Vikings. What's that, Ted? 82 catches? Remember that game he had against the Chargers?
So, yeah, I think the last 2 games, he's had 47 catches for 712 yards and like 8 touchdowns.
They kept doing that wide receiver quick pass, and the Vikings, they kept getting yards on it. And I'm going, stop that play. That's all they got.
I never want to see Keenan Allen play the Vikings again in my life.
No, absolutely not.
I don't care what uniform he's wearing. I don't care if he gets signed by a CFL team and they play the Vikings in some kind of weird exhibition game. I don't want to see him playing against the Vikings ever again. That's just me.
No, I totally agree.
So, whatever.
Chris, what do you think about Caleb Williams? What's your take on him?
I thought he was solid enough. I mean, he had his moments where, he the big thing on him has been that he holds onto the football too long, and we saw that, particularly at the end when Grenard sacked him for like a 12-yard loss after he was being held. After he was being held just ridiculously by two dudes, and finally getting through. I will say, I don't like to bitch about the officiating, but the officiating was terrible. That one punt return that Brandon Powell had, where he was like 3 yards out of bounds, and some dude just basically threw himself at him, and they called a block in the back on Minnesota on that one, but they didn't manage to see the guy just diving at Powell from like.
What about that holding in the end zone that should have been a safety?
That should have been.
That should have been a safety.
How do you not call that? You're looking right at it, dipshit. How do you not see that and call that? What an a-hole!
Although I'm surprised, I'm also very surprised that they overturned that one catch that Keenan Allen had. Yeah. That would have given them a first goal on the 7.
Well,
and that they didn't overturn the Jordan Addison 69-yard catch to open the second half that got the Vikings first and goal.
And I know it goes both ways because Bynum totally interfered with that guy in the end zone. That should have been first and goal to 1. And I don't know why they didn't call it.
I thought that was a good no call because he turned his head and was playing. He turned his head. I thought he turned his head and then hit the Bears receiver and he was playing the ball. I've seen a lot of no calls on that. If he had not turned his head, that would have been a PI. I honestly thought that was a good no call, but that's just me.
That holding in the end zone in the first quarter, everybody in the world saw that. I mean, how do you not call that? That's the kind of thing that makes it look fixed. When you don't, the guy's seen it. The guy's seen it.
Yeah.
The dumbest part about the Addison catch is that they're showing these replays and whatever, and they show the one angle from like kind of a high angle, like behind. Like, oh, they have that camera, but we can't use that to verify challenges or not because we're a multi-billion-dollar freaking organization and we can't put 8,000 cameras in every damn stadium we play in. So not everybody has that angle, so we can't use it for challenges. What the hell do you got the camera for then? I mean,
it's not in every stadium, so we can't use it.
It's in every stadium, you morons!
Yeah, why is it not in every stadium? I mean, if you've ever watched all,
it's horrible, man.
If you've ever watched all 22 film from Soldier Field, it looks like the camera's on the space station somewhere or some shit. It's just it's like Levi Drake Rodriguez scouting film from Texas A&M, whatever the heck school he was.
Do we have an update on our left tackle? Anybody know anything that's going on?
I didn't see an update on Robinson. I didn't see an update on Ivan Pace. I haven't seen anything yet. We'll probably have to wait until sometime during the week when they start doing injury reports and whatnot.
Any notice on Ty Chandler? What did he do? Did he feel somebody up at a Wendy's salad bar?
I don't know.
To hide it?
I don't know.
Why can't Ty Chandler get carries? Why can't he get touches?
I don't know. But here's a good question from T. Kubler. That play in the fourth quarter where Sam Darnold went out and Nick Mullins came in and made that third down conversion. He asks, was the play that injured Darnold dirty?
No, I don't think so.
I didn't think so either. Chris, did you think it was a dirty play?
That was a course of a tackle. He was tackling.
I thought so too. Yeah, I didn't see it. It didn't look like he tried to twist his ankle or anything like that.
I hate to say it, when I seen Darnold running in, I was going, "Go back!" Mullins is on it. Go back. Let Mullins finish this drive. He's on a roll.
Yeah. Oh, I see the Digital Nate says, wow, we could be the 49ers. Backup quarterback with a broken finger is losing to Green Bay 17-0. Wow, whatever.
Yep.
Niners are winning?
No,
they're losing 17-0.
Oh. We don't ever
because they're missing half their damn roster.
You know, one thing Ted mentioned like 45 minutes ago is at least we're winning these games.
Yep.
So if I come across as negative or bitching, it's just because I'm looking at the long term, guys. You can't play this way. You got to be able to put teams away, and I don't know why KOC won't do it, but he's winning these games that are close. He's winning. He's not, he could be in bad shape, but I'd like to see the Vikings. How did I say it earlier in our texting back and forth? Knockout punch. I want to see him go into the fourth quarter and just take the will out of a team, which they could have done today. When it was 24-10, I was thinking Vikings are about to put the stamp down on Chicago and take their will out of it, and they're going to run the ball, end the game. But they just kept, I don't know. Maybe that's not what the identity is of this team. Maybe we want to We'll see going forward, but at least we're winning. Ted's right. It could be a lot worse.
Yeah, I would too. But I mean, look, they're winning. Like last year, somebody mentioned a lot earlier, and I meant to bring it up. They lost this game, like 12-10 last year against the Bears on Monday Night Football. So
they did, didn't they?
A win is a win.
Did.
I'll take it. And 9-2 is 9-2, man. Like Bill Parcells has famously said, and we said it on the show many times, you are what your record says you are. The Vikings are 9-2.
Also, as my Uncle Paulie says.
Yep.
Huh?
My brother's watching right now. He knows what Uncle Paulie said. Win is a win if it's hanging out the ass of a cow. He was there.
And like Big Tom Callahan says, I could stick my head up a cow's ass, or I could just take the word of a butcher.
We're not.
And with that, Ruby, are you there?
Hello.
You guys are smarter. Thank you.
All right.
Are we ready to spin the wheel? Ooh, is that real money?
Yes,
Here we go.
I do want to, while the wheel's spinning, I want to weigh in on an argument that was going on in the comments.
Is there an argument going on? Let's
what was the comment?
No, not football related. I just want to say that of the Golden Girls, Sophia is the best Golden Girl, and I will absolutely die on this hill if necessary.
Which one is Sophia?
The old one.
Yeah. All right, let me spin, and then you guys can come back to that. Here we go.
All right.
No, that's all I needed to say. I'm done.
What about Rue McClanahan, Chris?
Yeah.
Fanagi?
Yeah, Fanagi.
Fanagi!
Fanagi.
Ted, give a shout out for Fanagi. He's been with us since day one. Literally,
Fanagi,
episode one of Vikings Report. Him and Ray Hoagland have been with us the whole time.
Yeah, they are OGs, as the kids would say. So Fanagi, you know the deal, man.
Sophia?
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right.
Charlie's Angel. Give me a vote. Original. Kate Jackson, Fawcett.
No.
Jacqueline Smith.
There you go, Jacqueline Smith.
Yep.
Best looking with lowest amount of maintenance.
Yeah.
Vera Fawcett, high maintenance, man. Absolute high maintenance.
Good payout, though.
Yeah.
All right.
Look,
Vikes moved to 9-2. Return home for three straight games against Atlanta. Well, next week is the Cardinals, then Atlanta, then the Bears. Man, it's been a good season, even though Drew likes to bitch about every win.
No, you know what? I don't want to be that guy. But, I can only be the way I am, Ted. I'm old, I'm crusty, and I'm get out of my yard. I'm a Vikings fan from the old times where they can't play like this. Denny Green would be on my side. Denny Green would be on my side because he says the same way. I don't want to seem like a downer. I'm happy with 9-2. I'm ecstatic with 9-2. I just don't want to see this go into overtime. And we got through this muddled section of our schedule with wins. We've won, what's that, four straight now? 4 straight?
Yep, 4 straight.
Yep.
And I don't hate me in the chat. Don't hate. Please understand.
3 on the road. Three straight on the road. And that's hard to do.
Vikings win. I got my 17-string bass in the mail.
Oh, wow.
I can finally learn how to play Billy Sheehan bass lines and Jaco Pastorius.
All right.
So I'll be working on that. And I'm with you guys all the way. We're all pulling the same rope. I just want us to pull a little harder. You know what I mean?
That's what she said. All right. Chris, last words from you.
No, like Drew said, we've won 4 in a row. We're 9-2. We're guaranteed a winning record. We're just keeping pace with Detroit. They're solidly in the top wild card spot in the conference. So there's just about no chance they miss the playoffs at this point. So no, everything is good. And now they get to go back home for 3 weeks. So it should be interesting.
Give me a player of the game for each of you.
Jordan Addison for me.
Yeah, it's got to be Addison.
Although Aaron Jones had a good game. He finally broke 100 yards.
Yeah.
Addison.
No, it's got to be Addison.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Everybody, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving and spend it with friends and family that you don't hate, at least can tolerate.
By the way, we have Thanksgiving disagreements. Ted's a baked beans. Baked beans have no place.
We're not having baked beans this year, believe it or not.
You shouldn't, because they have no place at the Thanksgiving table.
They do, but
no, absolutely.
That's none of your business.
Terrible. That's like that orange smelly orange stuff with the toasted marshmallows on it. Why is that even part of Thanksgiving?
Yams are like
No, they smell like ass. They're terrible.
Whatever.
Let's talk next week. We're gonna have a show next week.
Mute him, Ruby. Mute him.
No.
All right, look for Drew.
And she did. Oh my God.
For Drew, for Chris, I'm Ted. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll be back with a real abbreviated studio show for that Cardinals game, and then a live post-game show next week. Skull Vikings 9-2. Let's keep it rolling, baby.
Hell yeah.